Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to install a dishwasher. I have a KitchenAid model over there that's going on around 10-11 years old and it's having some issues with the pump, and more recently it started leaking water. I was going to try to replace a couple of the parts on there, but as you can see, my wife just wanted to get a new one, so we have a new one sitting over here. The model that we're going to be installing here today is a KitchenAid and it's KDTM604KPS. This process is exactly the same for all the Whirlpool models and KitchenAid, and in addition some of the other manufacturers as well. As we were looking for a replacement, we were set on the KitchenAid again because we do really like it, and all our other appliances in there are matching as well. But I think really the biggest difference between this model and that older one, this one's a little bit louder over here. It's 44, but it's because it has these 360 nozzles where it cleans, a little bit better on the third rack. In addition, the main benefit of this model is it has a heat and a blower cycle when it goes to dry the dishes, which is very important. If you're trying to get dishes out of here, a lot of times they're going to come out wet. Supposedly this model over here, things will be completely dry. As we get it opened up here, and KitchenAid typically does a good job of protecting it. As you can see, they got these supports on the sides, and likewise over here protecting, the control panel on the front there. We're going to just open the box up here, then I'll set it over here and I'll show you what you get in this and what you're going to need to make sure you get ahead of time because it doesn't include it. Now that we got it out of the box, typically I will leave this plastic on here until I'm done installing it, just to make sure I don't damage the front. But I'll remove it here real quick just to give you a side-by-side comparison. And you're also going to have some plastic on the top here. Again, we'll leave that there until the installation is done. Inside here, it's going to come with your instruction manual. They give you some of this jet dry, the drain. And also on the bottom here is our handle that we'll have to install on the front. And the two things that you're going to need to make sure you get is a power cord and a water supply line. And the reason those typically aren't included in this is because depending if you're going to direct wire or put it on a plug is typically different there, so that's why they don't. I wish they would, because it just makes the process a little bit more complicated as far as getting that ahead of time versus just getting the whole unit. However, it's pretty straightforward. I'll put the Whirlpool part numbers in the description of what you need to get for this. But I'll just quickly open up each one of these racks, and there's that 360 that I talked about earlier. There's the middle. Then there's the bottom rack as well. So the first thing we're going to do here, we're going to flip this thing on the back side. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to start connecting the power cord, the water line, and we'll also get this drain hooked up before we slide it back into our cabinet area. We'll go ahead and slide it back here in place. And I did have to put a couple furniture pads underneath there because unlike the one that we removed, this one does not have wheels. So we'll just set it on the back side. Then remove this cover, and you just got a couple 5/16 here. There's a little plastic thing here, so just push it up like that and the cover should come off. Then remove this here. Just make sure we don't forget to put that back when we're done. And now we have access to the electrical box, and right here is going to be our water inlet where we're going to connect our water line. We'll start here with the electrical box, so just take a 1/4 inch. Remove that. And that tray should come off. Next, take your power cord, and your power cord is going to come with one of these metallic strain relief. You want to make sure that's on there. We're going to route it up through that hole, and once it comes through there, take this other piece here, and we'll simply tighten it down to hold it there. Then we'll connect our terminals, and it's pretty straightforward here. So we just got our ground, our white wire, and our black wire, which they go right there. Alright, so once that's snugged up there, next we'll go ahead and just connect these wires. So first remove our ground. And we'll connect our white wire here, and if yours doesn't have a ring there, just put a slight bend in here so you can put it underneath that screw. And once you have it sitting in place, then we'll tighten this back down. And then we'll do the same thing over here on the black wire. And then just verify those are tight, and then we'll put the cover back on. And just pay attention to this lip here. It's going to go in those notches on the back. And then simply tighten this back down. Then we're done with the power cord. Moving on to the water line. This is just one that I got from Whirlpool with it. What you're going to need to make sure you do is you need to make sure you have something like this. There's nothing wrong with reusing these. Just make sure to replace that gasket in there. So we'll go ahead and we'll take this off. And depending on some washers, the connections is different down there. So just pay attention to whatever you have there. And we'll tighten this up. Then we'll go back down to the washer and we'll get this connected. To get our water line installed, here's our connection. And this isn't required, but I'm going to remove this drip tray just to get a better visual there on video. Then we can remove this plug here. So just push this little tab back here and that should slide out like that. And we'll take our water line, just make sure you route it up through the bottom here. You can push that out of the way. And just be very careful tightening this. Just make sure you're getting it on there straight and you're not cross-threading it, because you can break that little plastic thing there. And once you feel it getting somewhat snug by hand, then we'll just turn it just a little bit here with the pliers to finish getting it all the way tight on there. And that should be good. Then reinstall the drip tray. So just reconnect this sensor here. Make sure you hear it snap in place. And these pieces here, just get aligned there, and that should also snap in place as well. Just like that. Then moving on to our drain hose, just make sure you pay attention to which side is which. So this one here has a drain on it, and on the other side, it clearly is marked sink in. So just make sure you're putting the right one down here, and we're going to connect it here with the included clamp. So we'll insert our clamp, take our drain hose, and just gently wiggle it in there until you feel it seat in there. Then take a pliers. Just make sure you get it in between those two notches back there on that hose. Then we'll release our pliers. Make sure it's snug on there, and we should be good with the drain. All right, so now we're ready to push the dishwasher back there in our cabinet area. Only last thing to call out here is these legs on each corner. Those are there to level, so just make sure you level or get it the height that you need. And also be very gentle when you're putting it back there. These drain hoses and the actual water line, make sure you have those routed where you need to be. In our scenario here, everything needs to get routed to the right, so we'll kind of just gently push it over the right. We'll push it through the cabinet in the area there, then we'll push our washer back in place. So we'll first take our water line, route it through that hole, take our drain, and it's going to go through this top one up here. Then we'll just set our electrical cord back there in place, and we'll scoot our dishwasher back in there. Alright, so now we got it pushed back in there. Just make note on that insulator there on the outside. Just make sure that stays in place. You might need to tape it down a little bit. Last thing we need to do here before we push it in all together is put these in here. What you do with this is just going to get screwed in up top up here to your counter to hold it in place. Put the other one on this side. And just make sure when you're installing these, notice this little piece here. That's going to go into the ledge there, like that. And you're going to bend down this piece here to keep that in place. Just like that. And we'll do the same thing over here. So again, raise it there. And there are some other areas in here depending on where your piece is under here. But on this one here, it's going to fit best on these two on the outside. Alright, so that one's installed as well. So then we'll push it back inside there. Then when you get it positioned where you want, then you're just going to take a screw on both of these and connect it to the countertop on the top there. Moving on to installing the water line and also the other end of our drain. Just be very careful with these PVC. Just make sure you put something here and here when you're tightening it, because you don't want to put an unnecessary bind on that PVC pipe there. And once you get that hand tightened, then we'll gently snug it up. Alright, so that should be good enough. Next, take the drain and insert it over here on our garbage disposal. Then take your pliers. Make sure that's snug on there, then you're done with the drain. And we'll go ahead and open up that water valve as well. Then we'll install this cover on the bottom here. So again, make sure you put this insulator back up in here. Then pay attention to these notches. Again, line them up to that plastic underneath there. And if you notice this thing on the bottom, you can pull that down a little farther if you need to cover anything on your floor. And then go ahead and tighten these back up. Alright, so now finally our last step, we're going to be installing the handle. Before we install it, we're going to remove this plastic protective off here. And the reason you want to do it before you put that on there, sometimes you'll get little pieces to get stuck behind there and you won't be able to get it off. So just remove this, then we'll install the handle. And all you have to do for this handle, get this protective stuff off of it here. So you're going to notice these little areas here. That's how you can tighten it down. So you're simply just going to set it on there like that, and then go underneath there and tighten those down. And they do include this little thing here, and if you notice, it has a protective coating on the side here so you don't scrape up the dishwasher. Just get it gently snugged like that, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. And just verify that that's tight on there, then you're done with the handle. Then also remove the protective coating on the top here. Alright, so here's our final result. We got our dishwasher completely installed. As you can see, this is a very easy job you can do yourself at home and save yourself a couple $100. Just make sure the first couple cycles that you do, that you look underneath there and check all your connections and make sure you don't have any leaks. If everything looks good, then you completed your job here. So hopefully this helped you out. If it did, please give me the thumbs up. If you're interested in more content like this, please hit that subscribe. But again, I hope this helped you out, and thanks for watching.